Yo, what's good people, it's Cactus, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you how to make hi-hats and snares from scratch, mainly for drill beats though. I've done some sound design videos in the past for kicks and 808s, but then a lot of people ask for snares and hi-hats, and they're quite similar to create, so I'm going to make both of them in this video. And yo, I finally switched up the Raptors hat and got some custom branding, so the hats are looking sick. If you want one, then DM me on Instagram at jcactusmusic. I haven't got them on my site yet, I might do at some point, but for now I'm just keeping them kind of exclusive. So shout out to everyone that's grabbed a hat so far, and everyone that's grabbed a pack so far. Everyone's been showing crazy love recently, so I appreciate you all. But let's get into the video. Alright, so when you're designing sounds, you usually want to do them around a beat, or at least test them in a beat before you export them, just so you know that it's going to sound good. So I'm going to show you a beat that I'm working on. It's sounding mad. So the beat sounded crazy, I'm happy with it. I don't really need to change the sounds, but because I'm designing sounds, I just want to test them in this beat to make sure they're going to be good. So we'll start with the hi-hat because it's the easiest thing to make, and I'm going to be using Serum. I'm going to come to menu and click initialize preset. A lot of trap and drill hi-hats are just made with white noise, so I'm going to turn off oscillator A and then activate the noise. Now in the noise, the one that you pick is entirely up to you. The analog sounds are the ones that I like the sound of. So let's just pick the bright white noise. And now you want to shape the hi-hat. So look at the shape of an existing one. So I've grabbed one from my pack, which is hat 11. You can see that it's quite short. It's got some attack and then it quickly dips out. So to make that, we're just going to adjust the envelope. We're going to keep that quick attack. So around about 0.5. I'm going to bring this right down. You want to bring the release all the way down and then play with the decay. And then we can activate the filter, and we just want to cut out the low energy. So to cut out the low energy, we need a high pass because you're letting the high frequencies through. I'll just select high 18, and I'm going to activate noise as well. And now I can move the cut off around about there, and then I'll bring the drive up. You could even bring the cut off further and get a nice crispy hi-hat. Probably get a better sound using an EQ like Pro Q3. You can cut out all the low energy and then add some color with the EQ. Until you get the sound that you like. If you didn't want it to be as sharp, you could open up a transient processor and just bring the attack down, and that's just going to smooth it out a bit. And apart from that, you don't need to do too much of hi-hats. Just play around with some of the noises and an EQ, and then you should be good from there. But now I want to make a hi-hat for drill, and a lot of drill beats will actually use some kind of snare for the hi-hat, just a real short version, so something like this. So I've initialized the preset. I'm going to turn off oscillator A. I'm going to open up noise, and we're going to try something random. Let's go into organics, and then we'll play around with some of these. So let's choose the paper bag. I'm going to bring the pitch up a bit. Maybe just to there for now, and then we're going to shape it. I'll turn it up. So the sustains all the way down, and then we're just going to bring the decay. We're going to keep the attack quite sharp, and then just get more of a hi-hat sound. So I think that's short enough. And again, I'm going to pull up an EQ like Fab Filter. And try to get some nice color. So I'm happy with that so far. But now I want to add some distortion. So I've pulled up Camel Crusher just because it's a free plugin. And let's see what these sound like. So even the first one sounds good. British Clean is good as well. I'm going to go back to the first one, but I'm going to adjust the mix level so it's not as harsh. Just adjusting the EQ a little bit again. And when I'm EQing, there's no set rules. I'm just taking out the lows because you don't really need them for hi-hats. And then for the other bit, I'm just trying to find the right color. So I'm just dragging up certain points and dragging it along until I find the sound that I like. And now to make it a bit more interesting, I'm going to drag this LFO onto the pitch. And this is going to automate the pitch. So it's going to follow it in that movement. It's going to go from a high pitch to a low pitch really quick. But I don't want it to move that much. So I'm going to bring this level down here. Now it's just going from this pitch to this one. So a bit shorter. So maybe something like that. And then to export it, I'm going to open up Edison, set this to on input, hit record. And then I've recorded it in a few times, so I'm just going to grab one of them. Just make sure this is on snap to zero crossing, so you're not getting any of the extra bits either side. And then you can use this tool to drag it back into the channel rack. So now I need to test it in my beat, and hopefully it sounds right. So I'm just going to copy the hi-hat pattern and paste it in the new one. I'm going to boost the volume a little bit, and let's see how it sounds. Sounds kind of sick. And I might even bring the pitch up just to see how this sounds. Sounding cold again. So that one's not sounding too bad, and that was just a quick demonstration. So you can see how creative you can get. You just want to try different sounds, different noises, play with the EQ, distortion, and see what you can come up with. And you don't even have to stop there. You can drag in your own sounds. Not a lot of people know this, and I don't know why, but you can actually drag in your own sounds to Serum. Have a look for some percussion, some Foley, and see what you can make. Even record your own sounds like this one. Right, that's just the sound of keys. I'm going to drag this on top of the noise. And now everything that you've changed is going to change the sound of that original one. And now listen to this. It's got all the same effects on, but a completely different sound. So now that I've talked you through standard hi-hats and drill hi-hats, I'm going to talk you through standard snares as well. So I'm going back in Serum, and the snare is a combination between white noise and a sine wave. So I'm going to go back to analog midi sine, and I'm going to play it a little bit further down the keyboard. Again, have a look at existing snares and see what kind of shape they have. I'm going to pull up one from my drum kit. This one's quite crazy. I use it in a lot of my drill beats. You can see it's got like quite a sharp attack and then it fades out towards the end, but it's also quite distorted and clipped. That's what all of these lines mean. So that's how I want to approach this sound. So I need to bring the envelope down, or the sustain is going to come all the way down, and then the decay. And then to get more of a punch, I'm going to take this LFO, drag this down, and then this is going to automate the pitch. So I'm going to click this, drag it up to coarse pitch, and then you want to hit Alt and Shift and click this button here. That just makes sure that it's going to go in one motion. It's not going to go back and forth with the pitch. It's just going to happen in one motion. And now we need to layer this with some noise. So I've just pulled up the analog bright white noise. And I'll bring this LFO onto the level of the white noise as well. And then adjust the level, and you just want to get the balance between the white noise and the sine wave. So I'll go somewhere around about there, and then I'm going to pull up an EQ. I don't need all of the low end, you want to keep some though. Instead of this LFO, let's try this envelope on the level, see what this sounds like. So I'd probably prefer that a little bit more. Again, just blend in the levels of the sine wave and the white noise, and then find the sweet spot with the snare around about here. I definitely recommend distortion on snares too, so we can try some. And one that I really like is Decapitator by Sound Toys. I'm going to crank the drive all the way up. I'm just changing the level of the noise again and reducing Decapitator. So we've got this so far. And then I want to add some quick reverb, but I'm going to do this in Serum. So I'm going to go to the effects tab and I'm going to automate the mix level. So I've selected a new envelope, which is envelope 2. Now I can create a new shape. So I want the mix level to start quite high and then come all the way to the bottom. So I'm going to drag this envelope onto the mix level and bring this down. It's only going to be subtle, but it's just going to bring the sound together. So that's how you make a standard snare, but I'm going to show you how to make more of a drill snare. So for the drill snare, I'm going to find some noise again, some Foley. Maybe something like this. And I'll drag that on top of the noise. I've just reset the pitch so it's at the normal sound. And I'm going to turn on one-shot mode, which means it's just going to play once. Now I'm going to adjust Decapitator a bit, make it a bit brighter, increase the drive. I'm also using Classic Clipper just to purposely clip the sound. It just adds a bit more distortion. So I've increased the gain quite a bit until it's clearly clipping, and I'm just bringing the slope all the way down just so it's a softer clip. I'm going to make this snare a little bit shorter. Let's try some chorus as well. I'm just experimenting at this stage. So I'm feeling this light setting, and then I've activated this button here. That button just means that when you press different notes on the keyboard, it's going to affect the pitch of the sample that you put in. So I'm just playing it a little bit higher up on F. Now I'm going to record this in again. And you can see that the waveform's looking like the first one that I showed you. It's quite distorted, and it starts high and then gradually comes down. And now we've got this sound. And now to test it, I'm going to copy this snare, paste it in this one. I'm going to set it to cut itself as well, just because I've got a roll up here, and we'll see how it sounds. So it sounded kind of unique, but it's kind of cold. So that's the thing with drill beats. There aren't really any rules to it. You can distort things, you can purposely clip things, just experiment and try and get unique sounds from it. Try and make things from scratch, and then even try record things in. Like I showed you earlier, get some key sounds, some free Foleys, free percussions, and just see what you can come up with. So I hope you liked the video, and I hope you were feeling the beat. Hopefully you took some gems from this one as well, because if you want to put out your own drum kits, you need to be designing your sounds from scratch. You can't be stealing everyone's, so there's no excuses now. And yo, if you haven't seen any of them yet, then definitely check out the new podcast. It's under Cactus Convos on Apple Podcasts and YouTube. I've got some crazy guests which I've recorded so far, but I'm only dropping them every 2 weeks. So definitely check that out. Stay tuned, and I'll see you next time.
DJ Cactus.